Hello, we're live. Thank you to Mit Liebe, to Mirka, for inviting me to be part of this crazy workshop party. And I am using her stencil today, together with a whole lot of molds and other things. But this is Mirka's stencil that she designed. And this was my starting point for today's live. Let me hold it up a bit so you don't have reflection. And let me just see if I can see the comments. Let's have some live comments. Where are my comments? Why are they not here? Are we having a delay? Why am I not seeing comments? Show comments? No. Ah, there, you see, they're all there. Olga's there, Christiana's there. Sky Blue, Peculiaris, Moika, Mit Liebe's here. Hello, my lovely ladies who've been so busy all day. I have so enjoyed it. Danke für alles. Meine Deutsch ist ein bisschen. Ich möchte nicht Deutsch sprechen für diese Live, und ihr könnt nicht mich verstehen. That's about as much as my German's going to be today, although I have understood a vast amount. I've even been quite impressed with myself about how much I have understood of Mirka's lives and everybody's lives today. So, hello Penny. Hello, Karen Oppert. I don't expect you to be in the chat. Hello, Nunu. Nunu's also been in some of the lives today on Mit Liebe. It's true, you don't actually have to necessarily understand, because crafting it's like a picture says 1,000 words, and you can see what the craft is doing and using, so you don't necessarily need to understand the language, but it does help. All good. I'm not raising the bar. Ich kann Kleiber und Pinsel und Wasser und Dunkel und Licht und Weiß und Blau und Orange sagen. Yeah. For the people who've come here wanting German, I'm going to have to ask Mit Liebe or Christiana to translate if anybody has any questions. But anyway, so this is the gorgeous stencil designed by the owner of Mit Liebe, and she has quite a few different stencils that she's designed, but this was the first one, and it's the one I fell in love with. And it's a little bit dirty because I have used some permanent ink through my stencil to get it onto my canvas, and I've been playing around, and I have done a test run with the Allegro paints, so I don't know how far I'll get on, whether I'll finish it tonight, but let's just show you what I have done. So underneath all of this, you can see ta-da, my lady. And so I decided to do a whole lot of prep work because I realized that I need this all to be dry. So I have glued it with gel medium. So I did this a couple of weeks ago, in fact. I was that organized. And so this is nice and dry. And this piece I want to sit over here, but I want to be able to paint underneath it first, which is why I didn't glue it on. And I use resin for my pieces. I use a 2-minute, 2-part resin. That's what I use. You can use clay in these molds. You can use the Cerantica, not Cerantica, the ceramic powder. There are lots of different mediums you can use in these molds, but I prefer to use resin simply because I like it to set quickly. I want to be able to pop it out of the molds and get working on it straight away. I do not, I've discovered, have the patience to wait for things to dry. So I could plan ahead, I guess, and manufacture a whole lot of things in clay or in the ceramic powder and let them dry, but no, I usually like to create and make as I go. So I'm just trying to read. Bitte kein Gruppenküchen ich höre. Hauer? Okay, I can read it. Ich verstehe nicht. So I cut myself a stencil to mask off my face. So, well, I cut myself a mask, should I say. So I stenciled onto a piece of paper and I cut a mask and I put it over her face so that when I did the spraying, and that's the one thing I did not put ready on my desk. Typical, I have a million things on my desk and I must have, I don't know how many of these spray cans. And of course I have none of them out. Oh, that's useful. Very useful. Okay. So I have used the, oh, there it is. Can't see it for looking, it's right under my nose. I have used the Nero primer to spray this lot, and you can see that I had that there so that when I sprayed, I could spray everything. And I basically just wanted to protect the face. Group hugs, danke. Okay, now that makes sense. Because I could understand, I can understand enough to translate and be really confused. So, especially when I read it, when I hear it, I understand a little bit more. Yes, Nineka, thank you for reminding me. Please like and share the video. So that's what I have done in preparation for today. And I thought I would just show you the various molds that I have used. And I have got 5 molds with Stamperia. And I know that Mit Liebe had them in stock. I don't know if they're still in stock, but she can get more. So this one is all the locks and the latches and so there's buckles and hinges and locks and a handle and of course the spyglass. Then I have the wings, and so there's lots of lovely little bits to use. There are the screw heads and nuts and bolts and these gears, this lovely big gear, and of course the wings. I'm not using the wings today though. I thought I would, but I opted not to. I have my pipes, which are A5, and I have used these over here. I have, and I had been using those with the clay, so that's left it a little bit dirty. Then here we have the door plate, we have the keys, hinge, and lock keyhole things. And enjoy the rugby, Lullaby. Yes, and saying happy birthday to Lullaby. It was her birthday this week. And then we have, of course, Lady Vagabond, her airship, her propellers, suitcases, and so on. I haven't used any of the characters here except for the propellers, which I have put on there. So I have used my molds in the background in preparation. So this is inspired very much by a Finnabair work, where Finnabair usually uses photographs of herself and then does what I call headdress. Or headgear. So that was my inspiration behind all of this. Cindy, I hadn't thought to link products, but yes, I will put all the codes in underneath. What I have done is underneath this particular video is all the links to Mit Liebe. So Mit Liebe has an online shop, and you will be able to go on there and find what you are looking for. So, but after the live, I will put the links to all the names, not necessarily links, but the names, because then you can shop and find what you need. So, right, let's get started because I've already used 10 minutes explaining everything. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get going with the painting first. And for that, I'm going to be using the Allegro paints. And I've got my, So Cindy, or who was asking, Mit Liebe can order for you. If she doesn't have stock, she can order. So Mirka is very good at getting back to you and placing orders and that kind of thing. So what I'm just doing is I know I've got my non-stick throwaway craft sheet paper thing here. What do you call this? The throwaway palette. But I am using this because I discovered when I did the test run that I was running out of paint using the small amount that I could mix on there. And for now, I'm going to start with these three to do the skin colors. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dot of the orange. Oh, and that's the other thing I've done. And I was inspired by Nuneka. So Nuneka, thank you for what you posted earlier in Facebook Messenger. She had this lovely tag concept where she put a black piece of paper and a white piece of paper and was testing all her products across it like this, so that you can see how the product works on a dark surface and on a light surface. And I thought that was so brilliant. And these are the 6 colors that I use the most of the Stamperia Allegro. And I don't know if that will come into focus with this, but again, I will put all the names of the paints and so on in afterwards. And yes, I use the 2-minute resin, Mirka. So I've done it now with all the different products. It's what I've spent today while I've been watching Mirka and her guests do all their lives. I've been sitting with all the products that I own, and I've been doing swatches of these Cerantica, of the Anticante, of the Glamour paste, of the cream paste, of the crackle paste, the Glamour pigment, which I mixed with some glue, then the Glamour gel, and the Arctic range with the ice, the snow, and the flakes. Then I've got the gesso and the primer, and lastly the pastes. So it's nice for me to be able to see which one's dry shiny, which one's dry matte, how good the coverage is, etc. And then these weren't quite dry, so I couldn't put them in the stack. Also, it was a last minute thing I decided to do was try the different glues. So on this side, it's the different glues, so I can see how shiny or matte they dry, how raised or flat they dry. And these are the different bottles that come with tiny nozzles, the extra gloss, extra matte, heavy body, fluid gloss, and the crystal drop. So I have done those as well, just so that I have a reference. And so I would like, yes, I give full credit for this concept to Nuneka because I think it's brilliant. So it's a good thing for you to do with the products that you own. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking a little bit of the orange and I'm going to mix it in to each color. And I am going to try and create about 4 different skin tones here. So I think what I'll do, Penny, is I will take photographs of all those swatches. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be a help, and I will post it on my Facebook group and on my Facebook page, my personal page. But I have a Facebook group called Belinda's Creative Inspiration for Everyone, and so I will post it all over the place for everybody to have reference. But it is a good idea for you to do it yourself because some of the things you can only really see the difference yourself. So what I'm doing is this is too, and I think the color is blowing out. It's too peachy. Nobody has skin tone that peachy. And adding the terracotta, it goes a little bit too pink, like you're sunburned. And so I'm going to add a little bit of terracotta to each one of these mixes as well. The swatch tag, Cindy, I just took basic cardstock, basic white paper. In fact, I ran out of the white paper I started using, so I've used the back of some watercolor cardstock that I had. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. It was just I wasn't trying to see what it would do on the different papers. I was merely trying to see how it would work on the light and the dark surface. Hello, David. Welcome. I am mixing different shades of skin color, I hope. At the moment, they're all looking fairly similar, but the idea is I want a light, a dark, and a medium, and an in-between. So I've got various shades of things happening here. Now I'm going to use the brown in it, because this will be my shadow color. And I'm going to put quite a bit in this one because this is my darkest color over here. And I think I might have just been too extreme, but without the shadows in things, the highlights don't have effect. So that's what I'm doing. I'm basically mixing my various skin tones so that when I actually get painting, I don't have to keep mixing, although I can add and mix as I go along. So normally I would add a dash of blue to my paint, but adding the brown works just as well, because adding the turquoise to this makes it go a bit too green, because the turquoise is together with this orange makes more of a green tone. It makes the perfect verdigris green, actually, if you mix the turquoise and the orange. So now I have enough of that. And if you've ever been in any of my art classes before, you will know that I always like my light to come from the right-hand side and my shadow to be on the left-hand side. And what I'm going to do, I can see that I still have a little bit of the putty on her forehead, as we say in South Africa, or forehead if you are American. I have no idea what you call it in German. I'm just making sure that I don't have any of the sticky stuff left, because that could be a bit of a disaster. And I will need some white, so I'm going to give myself a blob of white over there. And I'm going to pop that back in my container here. I have put my phone on a very wide angle camera so that you can see from top to bottom. It does mean that you don't see anything in huge detail. Right, so I'm starting with the lightest color and I'm going to put it right up to her hairline over here. And what I love about these paints is the coverage. So even though I did use a mask when I put the spray on my canvas, I did get some overspray, or underspray, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not too worried because the Allegro paints cover beautifully. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up to her eye over here and create her eye shape. No worries, Peggy. Happy Saturday to you too. All you missed was me explaining what I'm using and why. I am using my molds, and this stencil face is designed and drawn by Mirka, the owner of Mit Liebe, who invited me to this online party today. I'm going to just rub that so that I can actually see the nose through. And I am just getting my edges nice and tidy. and getting a base coat of paint on. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting a base coat down everywhere, and then I will go from there with the shadows and the highlights. I don't want to take too long with painting her face because I've still got a lot of that to do. And I must say that painting on canvas is so much easier than painting on the watercolor paper that I did the test run with, that I showed you guys just now when we started. And what I am also thinking of doing is making her kind of rusty. So my concept is that she's a person, not necessarily a real person, but that she will kind of become part of this headdress, or the headdress will become part of her. And so that's my starting point with all of this. And I'm probably going to go with my typical rusty look on my headdress and finish off with some waxes. And the waxes by Stamperia are called Cerantica. I discovered I have been pronouncing them wrong all this time. The CE makes it a ch sound. Live and learn every day. And so I will probably finish her off with those after I have finished painting. And just trying to get her mouth shape. She's so pretty. I don't want to ruin her gorgeous little pout. Yes, so Mirka's got, I know, definitely 4 different faces. And I'm going to make this front shoulder light as well, because the object that is closest to you is always lightest, even though that side will have a bit of shadow. But to make something feel like it is coming forward, you need to have it lighter. So I will start with the highlight on this side. And I'm going to, while I've still got it on my brush, because this is going to be my highlight side, because my sunshine always comes from the right hand side in my pictures. It's just how I roll. I'm going to do that. And then, sorry, got to hold my breath while I do a straight line like that. And then I'm going to do the last bit down here of her neck, because that would be catching the sun on this side. But of course, under her chin and so on, you can see in the stencil it is shadowed. So I'm going to go into my darkest color. And yes, Mirka says there are 4 ladies. I think you've given them all names. I think I'm using Mary. It's quite nice when you can talk about your stencil and it has a name. It makes it kind of more real. So bringing in the shadow from the side, and it also helps when you bring the shadow in that it helps to pop this shoulder forward. So I can go a bit darker, of course. Yes, I'm using Mary. Mary, 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 quite contrary. How does your garden grow? And I'm going to go back to the highlight because I want it to blend. It's easier to blend while your paint is wet. And so here I'm going to come with a little bit of my dark along this line that was in the stencil, because there will be a bit of a shadow there where her neck pulls forward. You know, you've got those sort of those lines like that come forward. And again, because I want this shoulder forward, I'm going to bring this shadow area down here like that. And now I'm going to go back into my highlight. Right. Done. That's done. Now we need to go back to the shadow area. So the shoulder is round, and to give it that impression, I am shading this back area here as well. And blending the one into the other and just making sure that I finish to the end of my canvas. Right. Now I can also bring in a little bit of white, highlighting, just to catch and make the shoulder feel really round on this area and blend it in. And I'm going to just catch here and blend it in so that her neck, you know, that sort of muscle thing that does that. There we go. So, and then again, a little bit of white on this shoulder here. So today's a bit of a combination of a fine art lesson using a stencil. I went out of the line. Let's just, I'm going to take it there. Just looks a little bit more comfortable than there we go. And now I'm going to start shading the side of her face and give her a bit of hairy chin, apparently. Hi, Jess. Nice that you could chat to your sister. Welcome. So I am using Mirka's stencil called Mary. Names with an M. I'm using Mirka's stencil that she designed and had cut, and I am painting it in and just trying to put the shadows in at this stage where they would be on the person and create a little bit of depth. And so this here, so I can see where the through where the eyebrows were, and I'm just following that line down and adding some shadow on that side. And there we go. So now I'm also going to add a little bit of shadow underneath her nose. And this is where it becomes kind of one of those personal choices as to how much shadow and so on you want to give, how realistic you want to make it. You can give, I'm going to grab a smaller brush, and you can give that highlight there, because you know we have that some people have it more exaggerated than others, that thing above our lip and that little hollow. So I'm just going to create the highlight, and then I'm going to put in the shadow on the opposite side you have to be a bit careful. Sometimes you can cause her to look like she has, I don't know, a hair lip or a mustache or something a bit strange. So sometimes I paint this and then I paint it out again, but there we go. I do find that the Allegro paints dry quite quickly. What is Peggy up to that you're saying shh? Ah, the Filtrum. Thank you. I can never remember its name. But I don't want to look like she's got a runny nose. So that's the only thing with that, is it can get a little awkward looking sometimes. So now I'm going to come back with some white and I'm going to highlight here and then shade it in. And definitely we need some highlight on this side of the face and on this cheekbone. So I'm looking to create some contrast. But as I said, I'm not really going for a hugely realistic look. I'm going to bring some highlight here. And of course, we need some highlight on this ear, as well as a little bit of the shadow in this ear. Oh, well done, Belinda. Put your great big fist in the paintbrush. Not clever. I'm kind of happy with how she is looking. I'm going to try and turn this light off and see if you can see the shadow. Ah, yes. The shading is definitely better without that light on. So I'll carry on without that light. And bring that in there like that. Right, now let's get some eyeliner on. And so I'm going to just bring some eyeshadow up here, like so. Okay, this is where I need a little bit of water because the grain of my canvas is fighting my brush. And trying to get her eyeliner kind of even. None of us are perfect, even in real life. One eye is always droopy. And I'm getting in my own shadow here, and I'm trying not to get in the wet paint. Right, so now we have some eyeshadow, and I'm going to pop out a little bit of the turquoise paint because I want her to have blue eyes. And I am going to use the shape of the eye that is already here and try and follow it. So I'm using the stencil shape. Remember, okay, so I'm seeing quite a lot of white at the bottom of her eye then. But I can always bring that up. But you very seldom see the whole eyeball unless the person has got one huge fright. So you generally don't see the whole eyeball. I'm going to use the stenciled form here again on this side to follow. And I'm going to do more blue than I need because I'm going to come in with my black. There we go. And where's my black? I haven't put it out. Just need a dot of black. And I'm just going to pop these in water because this paint dries really, really quickly. Right. Now I'm going to give her pupil some shape. Then I'm going to do the lips last. So I'm going to start doing the painting of the headdress. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to just get this basic down. And I can see I've been painting for half an hour. I didn't start painting at 6:30. So I can see that, and this eyeball is going really strange. It needs to be more round. She is not a cat, unless I make her into a cat person. This eyeball has become oval. I'm trying not to keep turning my canvas. Okay. I will come back to that. I'm going to go play over here. Dilated pupil. No, she's in a dark room. She's in a dark room. The nice thing with these colors, as you can see by the sample swatch, is that I normally like to work from light to dark, simply because it keeps my brushes clean, and it's quite difficult to go the other way around. But if you work from dark to light, it works as well, because I'm just going to bring this eyelid down a bit. There we go, that works. I think I had an eyelid too big. So we will just drop the eyelid. There we go. See, that immediately looks a whole lot better. Oh, she's scared. Yes, could be. Okay, let's go back to the turquoise and just make this more round again, because I made it too... Oh, and it's still wet. Okay, I'll have to wait for that to dry. But while I've got a dirty brush, let's pick up some of that. You always have a bit of shadowing up here anyway, so your eyes are not flat. They are indeed eyeballs. So you always need a bit of shadowing up here anyway to give it more of a realistic feel. Okay, I'm going to leave those well alone. So that's enough basics in for now to get an idea of where we're going. And I'm going to just pop that in a wet wipe. Oh, too many coming out. I'm just popping a wet wipe over this so that it will stay damp. And I'm going to give my paint a bit of a spray because it dries quite quickly. And now that I've had a chance to step back, I will re-look at those eyes, because I was showing, for those of you who came in, I did a test run on some, this is just watercolor cardstock. This was just a quick test run. And so this is where I'm going with her eyes and her lips and so on for later. But for now, I want to get her headdress going. So let's put the light back on so that you guys can see. There we go, because that brings that up again. And now I need to grab a nice big brush because, oh, apparently I didn't wash that one very well. Let's grab another brush. Oh, my brushes are in front of me. Where is it? Okay, no, that's not big enough. That one's too big. Can't win. Can't win. Okay, I'll grab that one. So what I want to do is I want to get some brown onto this, and I want to get the brown coming down onto her. So I'm going to play between the terracotta color and the brown shadow earth color, and I'm going to bring it all over my objects and just trying to get it underneath there. There we go. And I probably need to squeeze out more paint, but that's fine. So this is just a piece of the door plate. And drag queen without the makeup and the wig. Yes, she's going to be a diva. I hope she's going to be a diva. So I'm just giving her a bit of a rusty afro at this stage. That's what it looks like. Okay, definitely need more paint out. And I need more brown. I even have real makeup on hand to finish her makeup. Because as I discovered when I did my face the other day for that Stamperia Live where we had the apocalypse, and I decided to do my face makeup like I had flown through Armageddon or something. And that black was pretty industrial stuff. So what I'm doing is I am bringing brown. So I'm using the terracotta on the side and I'm bringing the brown on that side because I still want my highlight on the side. And what I'm trying to do is get an overall view of where I am at so that I can start building, because there are some people who do it, whether they're painting or whether they are drawing, they can start and finish like perfect lips, perfect eyes, perfect face, and they do it like bit by bit by bit. I'm the person who likes to have an overview so I can see what my project needs. We all work differently, and that's fine. I'm not saying that the way I'm doing this is the only way to do it. It's my way of doing it, and take from what I'm telling you what suits you. You don't have to, it's not cast in stone. It's a concept, it's an idea, it's something that I'm doing might spark off something in your mind that you want to try. By all means, go for it. That's why we do these lives. It's to try and inspire you and encourage you to pick up a brush, pick up some wax, pick up some paint, and just experiment and see where it takes you. So I've got the brown pretty much everywhere. Now I'm going to bring in the rust. And dab that in places, preferably while it's still dry, because still wet, because then it blends better. Did I put a white dot in the pupils? Yes, and I did on the sample. And that is always my last thing that I do when I am finished. So I will come back and do that. I'm not finished with the eyes yet. I will come back and add the dots and the finishing touches and the highlights. That's like the last thing that I like to do. So I'm just busy building the rust on the side, and we'll take the hair rusty stuff onto her face a little bit more down the side. And what I'm trying to do is just catch the raised areas that are definitely going to have more highlights, because the light would catch it more on that side than the other. And then as it wears off my brush, I'm mixing it in a little bit so that and what you will notice with these paints is they always dry a little bit darker than when they are wet. So what you see when it's wet, you've got to exaggerate ever so slightly, because otherwise when it's dry, you'll think, I'm sure I put paint there. I know I did. And if it wasn't for the fact that sometimes, yes, I'm working under video, I'd think to myself, what on earth was I thinking? I know I put that color there and it's gone. And that's because it blends in and it dries as it goes, and it dries darker. So always make it slightly lighter than you really want it to in places, because it's going to disappear somewhat. Okay, so now, because I've been using the orange, and this one needs some orange still, and that one needs some orange. And let's see, so I'm using, my brush has splayed out a little bit, and I am intentionally using the splayed out bits but I'm turning my brush so that I don't get what I call a brush footprint, like a cat's paw print. I don't want that happening, a repeat on my canvas here. So I'm rotating my brush as I'm tapping so that it gives a different texture every time. And you'll notice now that hopefully it is a little bit more obvious, there is quite a bit of structure to my underlying headdress or hair or whatever you want to call this. So it might look like a jumble of pieces, but there is some structure. I have got the clock hands, alias screws, at 90 degrees. I have got this pen nib, which is from the calligraphy range, also at a vertical. And then I've tried to create like a feeling of movement that way by using the pipes and the different things at different angles. And this piece repeats this line over here. So I repeat shapes, I repeat angles, and I repeat objects. So something that still has to come in is this piece, which is going over here. Okay, so this piece I still have to paint, but I wanted to be able to paint that properly underneath. So now I'm going to, where's my little mask? The mask, the mask, the mask. Where has the mask gone? You know, I have the tiniest studio and I haven't moved, but I have lost it. Okay, we'll just put a piece of paper down and we will paint it. So this is going to go here and I just need to paint it brown. So I'm using what's left on my brush. And I have 40 minutes. Paint, 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 speed paint, speed paint. Okay, let's get the terracotta on this side. Terracotta on this side, a little bit on that side. Orange. Orange. Okay, let's see how that's doing. There we go. Right. Perfect. Ta-da! Okay. So now how's she doing? That's looking good. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the face while that dries. So there was a bit of method in my madness so that you guys don't have to see me watch paint dry. I always like it dark on one side. Dare to be crafts. So I always have, and it's just a personal thing, I have my highlight on the right and my dark on the left. It's just something I developed so I don't have to think. It's one of those personal preferences. Right, let's go back to the skin color, which should be fine underneath my little baby wipe there. And what I do need to do is pop back the stencil to put back her eyebrows because she's got rather gorgeous eyebrows. And this is what is so nice. I just hope I can, okay, let's just get that one out the way for now. And pop the stencil back like so. What else is under? Okay, we have earrings in the way. We have all sorts in the way. Let's just get the stencil back and pop that back. And okay, let's just grab some ink. Let's get that back there. That's the joy of the stencil. So now she's got her eyebrows back. Will she have hair on the right side? I'm not sure yet, Anne. No, Cindy's asking that. So I might bring some hair down here. That might happen. I've got half an hour still to decide that. Right, let's go back and repair this eyeball that I messed up earlier. Because now that's dry. So now I can... Why is that brush got two miscreant hairs? This might be like Fox and Crow, you know. For those of you who haven't heard me tell the story, Fox and Crow came across a piece of cheese and they decided they would share it. So, but it was just one piece of cheese. So Fox said, it's fine, he'll bite it in half and then they can share it. So of course he bit too much off one side was bigger than the other. So Crow complained. So Fox said, that's easy to fix. I just bite a piece off the bigger piece and then it'd be the same. And so he did that, and of course he bit too much off. So Crow complained again that they weren't even. So Fox said, but that's okay, I can still bite a piece off the bigger piece. And this went on until Fox had finished all the cheese and Crow had had none. So these eyeballs are a bit like Fox and Crow. Bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, until she has her eyes closed at this rate. Have I seen the beautiful switch watches with birds inside? No, Anne, I haven't. Sounds amazing. Okay, let's give her some eyelashes. And I need to do... No, take the supervisor away. I do not need cat paw prints in wet paint. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just turning this upside down so I can get the same flick of the wrist to do eyelashes from this side. It's never quite the same, but it helps. Okay, so now she has eyelashes. Will it focus? Focus? Will it? Maybe? Yes? No? Ha! Focus down here. Okay. So she has eyelashes. But I've decided her eyeballs themselves, the actual eyes, are too big. I need to just make them a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm going to grab some of the base paint that I used. And just take some of that away. There we go. Go back with my brown. And right, now I'm just shaping her actual eyeball. So, because your eyeballs are not actually all white, contrary to popular belief. They have, if you look in the mirror, they have lots of other colors, especially like down here. Right, now I can bring that line back in. Yes, Peggy, I also hold my breath. I'm going to bring it up close and see if I can get this line. To go there again. Oh, now I'm happy. Okay. Right. Now, she needs some lipstick. And I'm using some of the Vivace. Where's my roller talk on? And dash of water because it's quite thick. Pink lips must be a Belinda picture. I love my pink lipstick. Nope, made a mess of that. Where the tear duct lives. Pink membrane in the middle. It's a difficult one to get. Yes. I will fiddle with this a little bit more once my live is finished, because it's quite hard to do and talk and remember to show you guys what I'm doing. No, let's have a smiling. Come brush. We'll have a Mona Lisa smile. As I say, I can always come back and take that away where I've gone where I don't want to, because I've used too big a brush. I'm going to add a smidgen of brown into my pink for this middle bit over here. In fact, this needs to dry a little bit more before I work on it too much. So to give it a bit more of a pout, you need the shadow in the middle quite a lot before you bring your lip lines around. And I need a bit lighter color on the top over there. Okay. But Peggy, I did use this gorgeous stencil. The stencil helps immensely. Yes, I can draw and it does help, but I promise you, you would be able to produce a face, quite a beautiful face, because Mirka's stencil is quite gorgeous to start with. In fact, you could just stencil, paint the flesh color and then put the stencil on and almost leave it as is. The stencil is that gorgeous. And so now that's still drying. Oh my word, it is still drying. I'm going to, what is going on down here? Oh, I seem to have messed a bit of orange there. Let's just try and see which color that was. And of course, it always dries darker, so I don't want to put too much of the wrong color there. Right. Okay, so now let's fiddle with some hair on this side over here. I'm not entirely sure because she, according to the stencil, has lovely straight hair. But of course, I haven't done that. I've given her a headdress. So let's just see what will happen if I add some curls and I need my skinny brush. It's not looking hairy enough. It's not the skinny brush. Hello, Kathy. Welcome. So we're just giving Our Lady some hair. Yes, Cindy, I will post the finished artwork. I definitely will. I will be posting, don't worry, I will post the finished artwork on my page, on the Mit Liebe page. I will send the pictures to Mirka so she can post. Right, so now we have some hair. Okay, now, where are my Ceranticas? They're right here. Can't see them for looking. Yes, she's a ginger redhead rusty girl. I'm just going to blow dry a little bit because it's not drying fast enough, and I have 23 minutes left. Danke, Sabrina. Yes, I will post everywhere, Cindy. I will post on Facebook, Instagram. Where else? Facebook and Instagram. Yes, because what you guys can see on camera and what actually is going on is always two very different things. Because although I try to have good lighting and a decent phone and all those things, yeah. So I'm going to use the copper to start with and twiddle my brush in there, and I want to pick up the details in my various items. And this clock is from Antoine's mold. The rest are all from my molds. Because then you'll start to see even more detail in her hair. And I always use more than one color of wax. So this one is going to be my base wax because it goes so nicely with the rusty color. So I always start, when I load my brush, I start always on the highlight side until I don't have too much left, And then I move over to my shadow side, or some would have me say moving over to the dark side. It's just so that you can pick up the details without it being too shiny. Hi, Sharon. Okay, so don't forget I've got this piece that's going here. So this piece also needs to dry and get a bit of Cerantica. But now I'm going to come with the gold. And the gold is going to be only on the highlight sides. I know it feels like I'm covering up most of the copper that I've put on, but it does build layers. And I'm not going over everything. I'm building a definite highlight zone over here. So this is when I want to show you this piece. I created it's a year ago that I created this piece, and I have a very definite gold streak going through over here, and that is what I like to do. I like to have a more definite direction of a significant color, in this case the gold, because I feel it is more interesting than if I had to put it everywhere. And then, because she's got turquoise eyes and I like to link things, stars in my hair. What a nice idea, Cindy. Piece de resistance, or however you spell that. Yes, but at least I understood what you meant. Okay, now I need to find another old brush of mine because I want to have turquoise earrings. And again, I'm going to use the turquoise Cerantica for that. And I'm going to get my finger involved because it's not coming out turquoise enough. There we go. And I still have 15 minutes left. Yay, yay, yay. Because now I've decided. Okay, let me put, oh, let's not put the wrong lid on, girl. Put the right lid on. Wipe my finger clean before I have an accident. And because I want to bring her hair out a little bit more, so I'm in two minds now. Because sometimes these projects have a mind of their own. And I like the way the turquoise is around this and it frames it. I haven't done any of this texture in the background because this I did with stencil work first. And I kind of feel like this could do with some zhuzhing up. So I'm going to be brave because it's just paint after all. And I'm sorry, but you're going to have to watch me work upside down. And I've decided I'm going to put the turquoise around her. make it pop. It's just a personal thing that I like to do. I have no idea how you spell that, Cindy. I'm dyslexic at the best of times, so don't ask me to spell anything anyway. So I'm just letting it fade out. Okay. I just felt like it needed some balancing. And that the turquoise at the top here would balance. Would balance it. No, you can never go wrong with blue. I quite agree, and quite agree. So what I'm trying to do is get it to fade out. But of course, I've run out of paint, so I need another drop. Blue hearts from Sharon, thank you. Now I need to work my brush a little bit. There we go. That makes her pop. That definitely makes her pop. Definitely makes it more interesting. If I'd maybe thought to put some stencils in the background, that would have also worked, but I can always stencil over the top, and I have 10 minutes left, 15 almost. I don't want to put too much coming down here. I want to now integrate it into, got it on there. So I'm trying to just integrate it into her hair a little bit down here. And then I need to bring it around this side. So we'll just work this way for a bit. So yes, I'll let it fade out down here too. There we go. What brush? It's smooth. This is a nylon bristle brush. It's one of Stamperia's brushes, KR127S. They do love their codes. So it is a soft bristle brush. And I'm just working off the excess. There we go. And maybe I will put a stencil or something down here, or maybe not, because I want the focus to be up there. So I think I will leave that. But I think I will come with a bit more turquoise. And I know you're not supposed to paint on top of the wax, but I know I can get away with it in this case. That looks better. And right. Now I'm trying to integrate it a bit. So I've got a little bit of what is left on my brush. I'm going to have to grab a bit more. I don't have enough. And I'm bringing, nope, that's too wet still. Piece of roller towel. Yes, she has a blue halo. I wonder what blue halos mean. Is she angelic? So I kind of want it to look like verdigris. So I'm bringing the blue in on this side a bit more because I want the background. So although I want it to push her headgear out, or her hair, or whatever this is that she has on her head, I also want it to, and this has still got to go here. I also want it to pop out. So now you can see the difference between a plain painted piece and the metallic. So I'm going to give this piece its metallic wax. It picks up all the details. And I'll try and see if I can do it closer to the camera so you can see the details a bit more. I don't know that character from Star Wars, although we know a lot of Star Wars because my family is Star Wars mad. Because my husband sounds like Darth Vader. And my son is called Luke after Luke Skywalker because, you know, Luke, I am your father and all that. Where can you buy these colors? Kathy, I have no idea where you live. If you are here in Europe, there is a link to Mit Liebe down below in my description box, and she can possibly order them for you. But I have no idea where you live. So Germany. Ah, okay. So yes, please contact Mirka at Mit Liebe and see if she can help you out. I know she has the Cerantica, and if she doesn't have the Cerantica, she will have the ones from Paint Art, which are, I would not hesitate to say they're almost identical. So yes, contact Mirka. The link is down below. There we go. So that I will glue later, but now it needs some of the blue treatment because everything else is getting a bit of the blue treatment. Got a bit heavy-handed there. There we go. Right, I'm almost done and I have a few minutes left. Oh, my brush has been messing on her face. Let me just take a clean brush and get that off. Now my favorite bit, where's my teeny tiny brush? I'm going to put the highlight in her eyes. Hello, Francis. You're late to the party. Yes, you are, but you've come at the end, so you get to see it almost done. Not a problem being late to parties. Because these kind of parties, you can go back and rewatch. Right, I said that the light was coming from the side, so I like to put a highlight there and a highlight there. And then, of course, there would be a highlight there and possibly there. Does that look a bit odd? Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Francis. Okay, so I've just washed my brush, but I'm going to put highlight on her earring. These are real comic book tricks, but they work. It's the little details. I was busy with her lips before I got distracted by something else. So let me see if I can finish the lips. I feel like they need a little bit more depth. So I don't normally mix black with something, but oh, it's so sticky. But without that kind of little hollow, it doesn't feel like, there we go. So I'm just giving some depth to the lips. And then we'll put some highlights again. Nope, not enough white. Because I've got a highlight side here. Oh, Penny. It's amazing what you can do with a stencil and a little bit of paint and a little bit of time. There we go. So now she has lips. Again, okay, so now because I'm working on the face, I'm going to switch this light out and see if you can see the details on the face a bit better. And then for the finishing touches, let's pop my brush in here. I am literally going to take out, I have my makeup here, and I have my makeup brushes, and I'm going to give her, you can never tell which, that's the brush that I used the other day to do my face, and we're going to give her a bit of rouge. Just a little bit. And on this side. It's just subtle, but it's soft. Mit Liebe has, if you check out her website, she's got quite a few of these ladies that she's done. Okay, now I need, where's that brush? So I'm just highlighting her cheekbones. And I think I'm going to call that done. So started with the stencil and ended with that. Makes it easy for everyone to be able to paint. Okay, everybody, there's a half-an-hour break now between myself and Olga. So no, don't think that Olga has forgotten or whatever. There is a half-an-hour break. That is how Mit Liebe has set today's workshop party up. So there is a half-an-hour break. Olga will start at 8:30. There is a link in the description box below. And I look forward to seeing you there. Olga is using the same stencil. I'm dying to see what she's going to do. It's going to be very exciting. Thanks everybody for joining me, and thank you to Mit Liebe for inviting me to participate in today's workshop party. It's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed myself, and we will see you at Olga's channel at 8:30. So go and have something to drink quickly, go and have something to eat, go and have a quick bathroom break, get your snacks for the next round because Olga will be live in half an hour. Bye everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all your likes. Lots of love. Bye.